a broader sense of what is happening. Dr. Sriram Cholia is with me on the phone line. And Dr. Sriram Cholia, fact is that if Mullah Baradur's exasperation has reached the level where he's dialing the US, that means the cracks are deep within, and the stability that the Taliban was looking for in Afghanistan is nowhere close, and that may not happen in the time to come.
Yes, Suresh. I think the factions has always been an issue in a decentralized movement like Taliban, because although they have a so-called supreme leader and all that, and a Shura council and so on, the local level leadership has always had fair amount of autonomy over the years, even as a guerrilla force. And sometimes they would disobey the top leadership and do their own thing in the local area. So now that they have state power, they have captured state power, obviously there is going to be a fight over the spoils of office and for who is going to control which powerful ministry and personnel and all those things. So I think this is where the agenda of the new government is going to be highly heterogeneous, because there's no single voice. I mean, the supreme leader, Akhundzada, Haibatullah Akhundzada, is more like a reclusive so-called spiritual figure. So it's very unlikely that these factions are all going to agree on one agenda going forward. There is a hard line, there are soft line, there are so-called middle opportunistic Taliban, and then there are the extremists like Haqqani. So I think what Baradar has realized is, because he has been most exposed to the international community, he has been talking a lot with the foreign diplomats and government leaders since his release from prison in the last 3 years. He is more exposed to the concerns of the international opinion and governments. And he has been in Qatar for a long time. So I think he realizes that the Taliban state will not even survive if they do not moderate their approach. But there, on the other hand, there are the battle-hardened factions and bloodthirsty and hardline extremist jihadist and Wahhabi-type groups within the same organization who want to impose totalitarian, so-called pure Islamist state. And I think there is a clear debate going on where there are moderates saying, if we do this, we are doomed. There is a humanitarian crisis. Half of the population is starving, and we have no aid, nothing coming in. We cannot even sustain for 2 or 3 months before complete collapse. On the other hand, these guys are saying we fought. We sacrificed our lives for the sake of the Islamic, emirate, and this is our time to implement it. So I think this tussle going forward is going to be a major fracture. And I think it's a good development in the sense the international community knows now which cards to play in order to try and keep these monsters under check.
Oh yes, that's quite the unanimous view coming in. But Sriram, really wanting to understand from you, in the broader sense, where does America stand now of the blunders they've already made, of the consequences they'll now have to face, and in the time to come? How will they have to repay?
Well, they are saying they're going to lead with diplomacy now that they no longer have a military card. So clearly they are trying to apply some pressure on the Taliban by withholding funds and foreign exchange reserves, and also the recent humanitarian aid donor conference. Again, they were trying to steer it in such a direction that it will tie down the hands of the Taliban. So they do have some levers. But I think the main issue with the US is geopolitically they don't have a means to apply pressure now, because none of the neighboring countries has given them bases from which to operate. So right now for counterterrorism strikes and other things, what they call over the horizon operations, they are launching from Qatar or from UAE, which are like hundreds of miles away from Afghanistan. So in that sense, they need to find more closer locations from which to forward bases from which they can still operate and maintain pressure, because if they don't do that, is only economic pressure, then Taliban are, especially hardliners, are such that, and some of the other terrorist groups are such that they wouldn't care, they would just carry on with their devastating and destructive activities. So it's very important that the US also maintains a counter-terrorism presence and force projection in the region. And I think they're on the lookout. They're trying to patch up with Russia. so that Russia will then agree to them having bases in Central Asian countries. So I think something is cooking behind the scenes. We'll have to see the UN session, General Assembly session is coming up. A lot of meetings are on the cards. So the US is looking to somehow maintain some relevance there, although their core interest is over because they no longer have troops there. So I think they are less interested in it as much, unlike in the past when they had forces there. So in that, to that extent, Afghanistan becomes one of many challenges for the US around the world, and perhaps much lesser than China and all the Indo-Pacific and all these things. So I think one should not also expect too much from the US, given their lack of leverage and the recent loss of core interests in this country.